Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tome Travelers, a fantasy science fiction book club podcast. This is episode 24, and we are going to be wrapping up our discussion on The Blinding Knife, which is book 2 of Lightbringer by Brent Weeks. But before we get into that, we have some big announcements today. The first is our Patreon launches tomorrow, which is November 1st, I believe.
Yeah.
We're recording this early, so I'm pretty sure it's November 1st. But as of the release of this episode, our Patreon will launch tomorrow. And what that means for some of you guys who possibly might want to support us in other means is you'll be getting early release episodes. So as we record and edit the episodes, we'll post them on the Patreon. So you'll get them early. You won't have to wait for the 1st, 15th, and 30th of the month. As well as you'll get a special Discord role in our Discord, and all of our Patreons, their names will be included at the end of the YouTube videos. And at launch, we have a special gift for you guys. As you know, the very first book we did on this podcast was The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, which is part of a trilogy. We are going to be launching the Patreon with the entire trilogy on the Patreon. So we've been going through Before They Are Hanged and The Last Argument of Kings, and we'll have 6 episodes, 3 of each on the Patreon ready to go, as well as when we all were reading through the Stormlight Archive, we all stopped at book 4. And so we have the entirety of Rhythm of War on the Patreon for you guys to view. You get Cosmere spoilers, tie-ins, all those kinds of things. We had some really great discussions talking about it. And so we hope you guys also enjoy. So at launch, that's 12 total episodes. We put Rhythm of War into 12 episodes, or into 6 episodes each. So that is 12 episodes at launch, which we're really excited about. So
we'll also be adding more bonus episodes from other series.
And just the idea is that we're gonna do sequel series mostly on the Patreon, and our thinking is just the doing sequel books as our monthly books doesn't make as much sense to attract newer viewers. So maybe older viewers who have been reading along can go to the Patreon and keep following along in series with us.
Right. And this the Blinding Knife, doing that for the public is kind of like a test run to see how you guys like it. So I think it's going really well. So but yeah, we have obviously our Discord, which you can join, link in the description. And Dylan, next month's book is
Red Rising.
Pierce Brown. I'm excited for it.
Pierce Brown. Yeah. I love it.
Well, that's the chunk of announcements that we have before we jump into this episode. So, Whitson, you want to hit us with our fantasy question before we get into extreme spoiler territory?
Yes, sir. So this one is tied to the book that we're reading. If you were a drafter in this universe, what would your colors be? You could say full spectrum polychrome if you want to. Just you got to justify it to us.
So we're leaning more towards like how the emotions or the
emotion
work.
Yeah,
right. Like
so like Liv is a super violet and a yellow, and like that's reflected in her personality. Or like who else? Like Androskyle is just rage and fury, and he's red, and what do you think you would be? You gonna take it first, Dylan?
I know I have blue in there because I'm a very logical person.
I think to take it a step further, I think you'd be super violet.
Yeah. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
A little bit of apathy in there, just a touch of apathy.
Yeah, I think I'd have a splash of red. What's orange?
Orange is creativity.
Yeah.
And empathy.
Yellow is
yellow is like the balanced color. It's like a little bit of everything, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd be on just opposite ends of the spectrum. Super violet and red.
This contiguous bichrome, as Gavin called it.
Maybe a splash of green. A little bit of wildness.
Yeah.
Just a hair.
What about you, MD?
I think I have I have two, and they're also discontinuous or whatever. The first is blue, because I just think I'm very logical. Also, like I pulled up the appendix to like read the descriptions of them, and it says blues are orderly, inquisitive, rational, calm, cold, impartial, intelligent, musical. Structure, rules, and hierarchy are important to them. Blues are often mathematicians and composers, and I'm like, I am both of those things. And then my second is gonna be orange, because
Yeah,
oranges,
okay. I was fixing to say, if you don't put orange in there, I don't know what you're doing.
Oranges are often artists, brilliant in understanding other people's emotions and motivations, which is true. And it's like it has like an associated vice and virtue. And for oranges, the vice is greed and the virtue is charity. And I'm like, yeah.
So I think if 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 I wasn't just straight yellow, or like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think definitely blue and green are in there, but then red and sub-red have to be in there too.
Yeah.
I feel like you got some super like definite super violet too, because you're very like.
Oh, I'm
Well,
really
no,
good
because
at
you put
going
emotions
cold
in
and
it
just
too, but
not
you
giving
also
a shit.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, I can be an emotional guy.
But like I feel like you got like so like Divergent. Have y'all know that book? I haven't read the book, but the movie. You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
how
yeah.
like blue. You remind me how like the law people are or whatever.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
know
I
what
don't
you're
know. I
talking
haven't read it.
about. It's been a while since I've.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But like they're just like or not the law people, the smart people. I forgot. But like they're just like very like I don't know. They remove the I don't know.
Detached, logical.
Detached, yeah.
I think super violet through green would also make some sense for me. I get real angry sometimes. I just don't want to be that asshole that says, "Oh, I'd be a full spectrum polychrome."
Yeah.
But I think super violet to green would make some sense. Got a little bit of an authority complex sometimes.
I can see it. You just, I don't know. You don't go into your red draft mode whenever you're talking about books, though. That's for sure. I just don't
I don't know. I
understand.
got pretty angry at Six of
At Six
Crows.
of Crows, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh man. But with that, if you guys have your own fantasy question, make sure to leave a comment down below or join the Discord and ask in there. And answer it yourself. What do you think you guys would be? But with that out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and jump into episode 24 of The Tome Travelers.
Be okay. All right. And cut. Action. All right, so we hopped in at chapter 67, where we came back into it. Stuff was developing for Kip. Iron Fist. He told him about the dagger, the deck box, and the shimmer cloaks. Iron Fist taught him a really important lesson about trusting people too much, but then doesn't betray him, which is good. I would have been so shocked. That would have been the twist
Yeah.
to end all twists.
Yeah.
Gavin gets back. Somehow he doesn't see the blinder's knife. That's one of the only things in this half that confused me, is that like at no point was he aware of the blinder's knife. We get a ton of development with Gavin and Karis really fast. I mean, just boom, 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 boom. Gavin kills Anna, accidentally ish. Gavin and Karis get married. Kip makes it into the Blackguard narrowly, kind of on a technicality. But we find out that Andros has like really, really been scheming to keep Kip down, and Kip has beaten him largely. Then we kind of fast forward into the war. Andros has taken some more power away from Gavin. Gavin finally killed his brother. He was going to free him just to save the world, and then he said some messed up stuff about Karis, and Gavin was like, "Nope, blowing your head off."
Yeah.
Which is probably for the best, because he was a megalomaniac and insane. Also, I want to talk about later. He didn't lose his prison powers. Has not lost his prison powers. And we found out that Andros did do something to make him the prism.
Mm-hmm.
He's like an artificial prism somehow. Then we go to war. Gavin is using guerrilla tactics and just crazy drafting to take out like massive forces of people, and the Chromaria is none the wiser. So the Black Guards call him Primarchos as like a mark of respect. And finally, we get to the battle with the White. Liv has made all her choices. She's committed to the bit. She helps the Green White get birthed faster in an effort to kill Gavin and win the battle. And we kind of get a development in the Color Prince's plans. We know that he wants to make the gods. He wants to make the Banes choose the people that are being turned into the gods. We know that Andros Guile wanted to be the Red God. But he gets stabbed with a blinder's knife, and he's no longer a red-white. Gavin lost all his colors. He is chained to an oar on a pirate ship, and Kip is in a dinghy with Zyman, rowing to who knows where.
And Zyman admits who he is.
Yeah, which we had
called.
predicted.
So I have a huge problem
called
with
that.
Yeah, I have a huge problem with how the knife hurts everyone except it doesn't
Andros
hurt
Guile.
Andros.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so the only reason I could think of that being the case though is because Andros had broken his halo, and I don't think we've seen him. No, we've seen him stab whites already. I don't know why Andros is the only one that doesn't get drained. Like, it just makes zero sense to me.
Well, we don't know what we don't know about the whites though is whether or not they lost their ability to draft or if they just weren't whites anymore.
No, they did. Remember, because
She tried to draft green. Yeah.
The green white that was going to kill him, he stabbed her in the ankle and she couldn't draft.
Right. I don't know. Maybe it's a time thing because he just nicked Andros Guile like very briefly. I don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
He even said at the end of the book that he was like, "Oh, that's not how that knife's supposed to work." So I'm thinking maybe it's because it sucked up all of the colors from Gavin already.
But that was after. That was after he nicked.
Oh, did Andros get? Yeah, he got stabbed first, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I imagine that it's going to get clarified next book.
Andros wasn't a full spectrum polychrome before either, right?
Well, he's not now.
Yeah. No, wasn't he just red?
Yeah, he's red. No, he's red, orange, red, and sub-red. I think so.
But at the end or whatever, it's him talking and he's looking at his eyes and he's got all the colors or whatever.
I don't think that was right. I think he had his 3 colors and they were balanced, and then his eyes are just blue. Like all the Guiles have blue eyes.
Maybe. I thought he said something. No, he just said polychrome. He didn't say full spectrum.
Yeah, he was just saying he was a powerful polychrome with 10 years left in his eyes.
Still.
My God, is terrifying. Right.
Yeah.
But we called like he was probably gonna end up being like the big bad.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I also called him being a white.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Yeah, we called that. I don't know. I think he's got so much power, but like I feel like people need to be able to see through him at this point, like shit's hit the fan. Like I feel like he should be like not being able to manipulate as easy as he has been.
Yeah, I don't know why Gavin hasn't just killed him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially after he had Karis beaten. You know, I saw Gavin going apeshit there. I thought he was just gonna fucking murder him.
And he never even mentioned it. Like, never even mentioned it to him after that.
No. Well, he is clearly, like, traumatized and afraid of him.
Yeah.
Right?
And
like,
everybody is. Which I get that. But, like...
Yeah. Also, if you're the most powerful man alive, like, you can probably just kill him.
But, like, I don't know. How do you see, like, all of the... like, his loyalties, like, all the people who are loyal to Andros Guile acting now that, like... it's known that he's a white. You think he's going to retain his power?
No.
Well, I mean, it'll
Kip for sure.
Yeah.
Say
But
what?
now I said the only one that saw for sure was Kip, but now he's not even a white.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kip was the only one who saw it. Maybe Gavin, in the fight, but
And also, I don't feel like
yeah,
the people are loyal to him. I feel like he's just got so much over their heads that are
yeah.
promised them or something. Or
Yeah.
It's mostly blackmail. It seems like. I mean, he really just has dirt on everybody,
yeah,
and apparently just a metric shit ton of money, like infinite money.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
seems like
They're the
because
guys, bro.
Gavin's giving away like tens of thousands of dinars to people without even a second thought.
Yeah. Which I
Uh,
mean, that could be his money just that he saved up from Prism stuff too. But like,
sure, yeah,
especially now that he's excommunicado or the renounced or whatever. But
yeah.
yeah,
So let's see, where do we want to jump in? The piece of White Luxon. I guess that's the first big,
Yeah.
like maybe red herring or like clue that we get in this half.
yeah.
Iron
No,
Fist tosses the piece of White Luxon to the White and says that Gavin accidentally drafted it at Garriston.
yeah. But did he say he saw that? Because I think it was Kip. I think Kip's the one that did it.
Yeah,
But I
I'm
don't
kind of with
remember
you
him
on that.
saying like how he found it or whatever.
I vaguely remember something about it at the end of the first book. I want to say you're probably right that it was Kip, but he just assumes that it was Gavin.
Yeah.
But
But he
is
shows
that like a
he
piece of the
showed
Lightbringer prophecy? Do we think?
man, I don't
It
know
might
about
be.
this Lightbringer thing. Like I it's called the Lightbringer saga. So like
Yeah,
unless that's just a giant red herring, obviously the Lightbringer is a real thing and we're gonna see
Mm-hmm.
it and it's probably Kip.
yeah. Do we think he's gonna like reform the Chromaria and like fix a lot of these like glaring issues with social structure, or like what is it? Is it
I
magical?
think I don't know. I think shit's about to hit the fan and like everything's gonna come undone and they're
Yeah.
just gonna have to restart from scratch.
Like,
Yeah,
because of what we've talked about, how like the Chromaria kind of does have like some weird pulls on strings on things as like a religion or whatever. And so I think everything about it is gonna come like crashing down. It's gonna be rebuilt.
Well, you see how a lot of these people are extremely faithful.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Um,
Well, dude, I mean, we had the whole arc with Iron Fist being like, am I an atheist? And like he uses the term
yeah.
atheist as like a slur, and he's like, wait, why? Wait, what? And like people are genuinely losing their faith too.
Well, I mean, they're literally watching pagan gods be born,
Right,
right? I mean, it'd be kind of hard not to question your faith when you're watching pagan gods be born around you
but
right.
then you're
and
also
seeing the
seeing your
effects.
god kill them,
Yeah,
and so
Right,
like
yeah. Well, so the prism, if the prism is Orhalim's chosen, right, and their
yeah,
purpose is to suppress the old gods, then it reinforces the faith. But it seems like they're so disconnected from like how their faith was originally formed,
yeah,
that it's kind of hard for them to make that connection.
it's evolved into like and
It's
like
it exists mostly to support the bureaucracy and the power of the Chromaria at
right.
this point.
And I was gonna say like that's probably how it started to begin with. It's like they needed to like stop these old gods from doing their thing. So like this prism happened, and then the people around him just kind of turned that into a way to gain power and control the masses.
Right. Well,
Um,
like the Roman Empire and Jesus or some shit.
right.
Right. Like, also, have y'all seen the TikTok thing where women are asking their boyfriends how
How
often they
often
think
do you
about the
think
Roman
about the Roman
Empire?
Empire,
Roman Empire, yeah.
dude? Yep.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire, Dylan?
Man, I used to like really be into like the Greek Empire. I used to think about that a lot, but um,
I thought about it a couple times when I was reading Codex Alera.
Well,
yeah.
It's
yeah,
about
it's
it, so.
so heavily inspired by that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think about it a lot, honestly, which is kind of weird. But it's like one of those things. It's like it's unspoken, so it's like I don't know everyone else is doing this, but I'm over here like I like plan D&D campaigns, and I'm like, ooh, what if they look like the Roman soldier? You know?
Makes some sense.
Yeah.
I think about more about Hannibal beating them with elephants, but it's just me. I'm
Okay,
always
well,
up
after
for
this,
the underdog.
Yeah.
after the white piece of Luxon, trying to think of the next big clue that we get. Oh, Marissa has some kind of relationship with the white that
I
we
don't
don't really
think
know
I
about.
don't
Yeah.
I don't think she's distrustful to Gavin though.
I don't think
Or-
so either.
Yeah, I think she's loyal. I think she's
100p.
loyal to Gavin.
Like,
We just
she's
started on
genuinely, like,
Dazen
hurt.
again now because he's switching back.
Yeah, he's finally taken his name back.
I also
Fuck
like
it,
how
well.
like even like the narrator is like, I'm confused at this point. He says that line in the book. No, I don't think she's distrustful. Like I think she's in love with him.
Yeah.
Um,
And she's genuinely hurt by Karis and Gavin's, like, engagement and
Right.
wedding.
but I don't know what that was about. So the only thing that popped in my head was maybe she's pregnant,
Oh,
but I don't know.
And
That's the
that's why
only
she's
thing
crying to the.
That's the only thing I could think of. Either that or like, well, no, because she wouldn't have wanted the white to know about that, about how she
well,
messed up.
here's my thing. I think the white is way more on Gavin's team than Gavin thinks she is.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
She said she bet it all on Gavin.
I was gonna
She's
say
always
she
supporting
admits all
him.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she just plays it up to Gavin that she's like political opposition to him because she wants to keep him in check,
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
keep him from going crazy with the power. But I think she has a
Right.
lot of faith in him. I also think that she knew that he was Dazen and not Gavin. That's my theory, my
I
crackpot
think
theory.
I think she's too smart not to have.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like she's got way too many hands in the cookie jars. Like,
And she's
Mhm.
so good
way
at
too-
reading people,
Yeah,
right?
and
She
she's-
would have
yeah.
known that Gavin was a megalomaniac. You know, Apple
Yeah.
didn't fall far from the tree from Andros Guile. So
right.
then to have someone who's so altruistic and like invested in the well-being of other people come back from the war, I feel like she had to have known.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. Do we
Yeah.
think that Andros knows?
If he
No.
does know, he doesn't care.
He
Right?
doesn't.
Like he just thinks his sons are tools in his political
Right.
like
Well,
utility belt.
I'm like saying
know he
hard
can
pressed.
speak.
I'm saying hard pressed. He doesn't know because of the amount of like conversations that Gavin goes in to have with Andros, and Andros is like talking about stuff that only Gavin would have known, like stuff like about the knife and about other stuff. And
Right.
Gavin's like treading dangerous territory about like trying to poke information about it, but without like actively saying it.
Yeah.
But we know how Andros is. We know how smart he is.
Yeah,
We
I
know
think
how
he's just
good-
fucking with him when he says that
Right.
stuff.
We know
Yeah.
how good he is at reading people too. Like he's the only one that can really match up with the white.
Right.
And
He hasn't been able to use his eyes for the last 16 years though. Right?
Yeah.
Like he hasn't been able to
Right.
visibly see Gavin to read him.
right, but like he spent more time with the real Gavin. He knew his personality, like he knew all this stuff about him, and it's just like it's hard for me to believe that someone who's so good at reading people, and bases most of his interactions on reading people, wouldn't be able to tell that the difference between their personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
It's definitely
in the
been
way
on my
that-
radar. I'm not
Yeah.
like certain that he knows, but I think it's definitely possible.
I feel like it's a pretty yeah.
I think it's
I feel like
possible,
he's
but
just
I
been
don't think it's
holding the-
likely.
I feel like he's just been holding the information until it's going to help him either get rid of him, or which we see him about to start doing, or is going to help him in some way. Like
Mhm.
up to this point, like him being Gavin and being the Prism has been something good for him. Well, now that we see that he's finally like they're basically splitting ways and he's like disowning him, it's going to be a lot. It's information he can use to play his hand and be like, hey, he's been dazing the whole time, or blah blah blah. I think he knows though.
Yeah. So where did we go from there? Oh, was the Blue Bane in the last half? I think the Blue Bane was in the last half.
Yeah, Blue Bane was in the
Yes.
last half.
Yeah.
So
This stuff.
I feel
was.
like I feel like a big thing that or a big part of this is the seer. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of goes to Gavin, or we're gonna start calling by the real names. Dazen's is gonna go to Dazen's narcissism, because like if somebody knows the future and they're telling you certain things, it's like maybe you should listen to him. And instead, he's like, no, I'm gonna do what I want.
Well, I
Uh,
think it's a selflessness thing, right? Because she tells him the consequences that he's going to die, and he's like, "Well, as long as I can kill the Bane, like that's okay."
Yeah.
I feel like that's really short-sighted, though. Like,
Well,
But
I just
Gavin's
don't
already
know enough
dying.
about. Yeah, I don't know enough about the mechanics of how the next prism is born or chosen.
right,
Um,
right.
because maybe in their faith, when he dies, the next prism will be brought forward. So maybe he's like, well, that's probably just best for all parties.
Right.
You know?
I feel like he was almost really betting on Kip for a little bit.
I think I think he is. I think he thinks it's possible that Kip could be the next Prism. Right? He's powerful, full spectrum polychrome. There was one moment. There's a moment. I think the first time that Gavin sees Kip when they're actually out on the ships, like going to war.
Yeah.
And he says, he saw a Kip that could be, and he really liked that Kip, and he liked the possibility that he saw there. That was a really sweet moment. I think Kip's development's been really good. How do y'all feel about
I
it?
do
We
too.
complained
Oh,
about that
yeah.
a little bit in
Well,
the first book.
it's not. I don't know. I'm not really trying to complain about it because I feel like his development is really good. I do feel like he's growing, and they're showing that growth. And I think one of my favorite parts in this section, as far as he's concerned, is when he drafts Super Violet for the first time and gets that confidence. I want to see
Mhm.
that in him like all the time because like I
Yeah.
feel like he's not overconfident. Like I don't want him to be overconfident, but like he is proven himself time and time again that he has ability, and like he keeps calling himself almost. But like man, he's had everything against. Like he's had one of the most powerful men in the world against him, and he's still like outdoing him. Like
Yeah.
I guarantee there's not very many people that can beat Andros Scowl at Nine
Yeah.
Kings. Like
Right.
Yeah. Or make their way through that whole situation with the Blackguard, right?
right,
Because that was two things. That was one, Kip being skilled. Two, a couple things. One, Kip being skilled as a drafter, right? Two, Kip being smart enough to take the advantages that he could find, whether they were like quote unquote fair or not.
yeah,
And then three, he's compassionate and empathetic enough that he made friends who care
Yeah.
about
yeah,
him and respect him.
yeah.
So I've loved his development in this book. I think he's still childish a lot of the time, but he's growing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I really liked was when he's talking about his the difference between Liv and oh, what's her name?
Yeah,
Tia. When he's talking about the difference between them, and he's like, he's talking about how he was so attracted to Liv, but now that he looks at it, it's like basically she's a spoiled brat,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and he recognizes the difference between those two. I think that's like a really big growth development right there too.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah. I thought that was a pretty big moment for him.
yeah.
But that did irk me a little bit because I feel like the son of a single mother who's a haze addict who abused the shit out of him, I feel like he shouldn't be lacking for perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess
He's
that's.
also lived in a box his whole life.
That's true. It's true. Very
And
So
small
like,
he
town.
was kind of also raised by Corvin Danibus.
yeah. Um, and so it's like yeah, but like he's lived in a very small town with like people that knew about that and like treated him accordingly, and so it's like I don't know. I think he just finally sees like, hey, like the world's not that small. I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. But and speaking of Liv, man, I'm just like I'm growing more like hating her
She's
character
drinking the
more.
Kool-Aid, man.
What-
She's
Yeah.
chugging the Kool-Aid. She's
And
mixing the
like
Kool-Aid for him.
Yeah.
and I just feel
And
like especially after her dad's like knowing her character, like how her character was portrayed, like in the beginning, it's like no, like her dad sends her that letter, like to me, like she's like maybe, maybe this isn't the best thing. Maybe I
Well,
should like
that's where she made her choice,
revalue.
right?
yeah.
That
Right.
was where
That's
she
like
gave up
the
on her old
symbolic of like her
ideals.
crumbling up the letter or whatever and throwing it. That was like the symbolic of, yeah.
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 Oh,
But
also, can we
okay,
talk about how? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, at that point she drafts the Super Violet. She starts drafting Super Violet more and more to be logical and think that way. But like to me, like the when you're drafting that and you're feeling that way, like I don't feel like the chaos that I don't feel like you would lean towards that chaos that
Hmm.
that the Color Prince is gonna bring. You know what I mean?
Well,
Because it's like I
well,
get like
logic
she's got a
is largely for humans a frame of like there's bias, like, right? Like humans are not capable of being totally,
completely logical.
coldly, completely
Yeah,
rational.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And her bias is hatred towards the Chromaria, first and foremost. Like this feeling of betrayal. Gavin is their figurehead, and she thinks that her father is his prisoner and she was his hostage. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just mean like as far as like so I feel like thinking in a super violent sort of way, you would weigh what you gain from each situation. But I feel like she's leaning almost more towards passion as far as like they did me bad. I don't
well,
want other
she's a
people to feel
yellow
that way.
too,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's
Um,
true.
Smack dab in the middle of the spectrum, close to orange. She's got some emotional stuff going on.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I don't know. She's a little. I thought the Zyman thing would scare her straight, kind of.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is what a system where power is the only thing that's rewarded looks like. You get a
Yeah,
megalomaniac with a lot of power like Zyman, who's just going to take whatever he wants and abuse the system, kill people. You know, he's it's going to be bad. If the
Yeah.
most powerful people are the people who are rewarded most often,
well, and
you're gonna have a
then
bad
like
time.
it's like so the Color Prince and Zyman have been like two of the they're like really hardcore allies, and you see them conspiring against each other, and it's just like,
Yeah.
if I'm in a three-person group and the other two people are supposed to be like really good friends, and then like when the other one walks away, this one talks shit about that one, and when that one's there, this one talks shit. I'm just like, maybe this isn't the best group to be in. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it was even that way in the first book with the oh gosh, what was the king's name? King Gardul. Like
Yeah.
at the end, he was like,
Right.
"Hey,
They're all
you know,
stabbing each other in the back.
yeah, they're all just
Which,
backstabbing each other."
don't get me wrong, like there's definitely some of that going on in the Chrome area, but like not with like I don't know Gavin and
Uh,
his friends and stuff. I mean,
well,
Gavin definitely uses people
Andros would have fit in with the
too.
Color Prince, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think he's probably the only one.
Well, but
Um,
I don't feel like he. I feel like he couldn't give up enough power to be with the Color Prince. Like I feel like he just
yeah,
knows
no,
how
I
this
don't think
is
so
gonna
either.
go, and so he's gonna like be there and take. Like I feel like there's almost three factions now with Andros. Well, I feel like Andros would probably be with the Chromary. I feel like he's gonna be running it at this point. He's pushing the White out. He's pushing Gavin out. He controls everyone else.
Yeah, he wants to be the
He
Primarchos for sure.
right. He basically controls the Chromary. So I feel like the third faction is gonna be like Gavin and Kip and Karis and yeah, all them.
Yeah, whenever they get Gavin back, if
Yeah.
they get Gavin
Well,
back.
and Kip. Like I get that ships like don't turn around that easy, but like wouldn't they have like seen each other? Like seen the other ship? Like
Maybe, I mean, it said he was afloat for a good little while there. Right, like 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
Just getting pushed along by the waves. And nobody saw Gavin go overboard except Andros and Grenwoody. And Grenwoody was pointing in the opposite direction, trying to send the blackguards the wrong way. Like
yeah,
they tried to confiscate or obfuscate it as much as possible.
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Um, and it was Andros's ship. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't like one of the ships from the fleet or a random ship. It was Andros's ship.
Right.
yeah, that's true. So yeah, he can control it. But Karis is on there. You know she's gonna try to, and
Well, she was below
uh,
deck and didn't see any of it.
right. Well, I just mean like they're gonna try to go find them.
Yeah,
Her and Iron Fist.
Well, didn't Karis also learn how Gavin was gonna die?
yeah,
She
So,
learned when.
oh, when? Yeah.
yeah. The seer probably didn't tell her exactly how. I would
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
because it would change things.
Yeah, but again, like, didn't he say or she say that there's only 1 in 1,000 chance, like she can be wrong too. Like
Yeah.
a green white was gonna kill him, or a musket. So obviously we see that the musket was from Karis when she's getting controlled, and then the other one's the green white, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But none of that came to pass. Then so like she can be wrong.
Hmm. Well, I think that she's steering the ship, right? I think she's planting little seeds to make sure that things go the way she wants them to,
Yeah.
or like best possible outcome. She's just, that's why she will say, a little bit just to inform someone to the extent that it is safe for her to inform them, and then no
Like,
more.
hey,
Yeah.
this is going on. Like,
Yeah.
have them put it in their mind, almost like a subconscious thing, so you're thinking about it while you're making decisions.
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, because I really don't think Andros is sending all the assassins. I think he's in charge of some of them.
Yeah, no, I had a couple notes about that. First of all, the guy that killed the green seat, Tyria's satrap,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
before in the first half with the peril needle. Do we think they're from the Broken Eye, the Order of the Broken Eye?
I think it makes sense. I think,
Yeah.
especially after seeing the one that went after the white, like we know the broken eye is a real thing now.
Yeah.
But like, who are they working for? Like,
I don't know. The title of the next book is The Broken Eye, so I think my theory
Yeah.
is that Kip and Simon are going to become involved somehow with the Broken Eye. That would just make sense to me. I mean, they're two powerful full spectrum polychromes. They're floating through the ocean. We have no idea where they're going to end up, and the
Yeah.
book is
they
titled
don't
The
know what they're
Broken
gonna
Eye.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, their rowboat is a rowboat too. Like they don't. I don't think it has a sail or anything. Like
Well, okay, you know what I'm thinking? Kvoth and the Ademre is what I'm thinking, right? Like training arc.
Yeah, that would be really good too. Because I feel like Kip does need a training arc. Like we got a little bit of one here with the Blackguard and stuff, but like I feel like especially with like his drafting, he
Yeah.
needs more.
Well, okay, so I wanted to talk about chapter 100 because I
Yeah.
thought that was
Yeah.
sick. I don't think I've ever read combat as good as Brent Weeks writes it.
Yeah.
Like on a large scale, like 1-to-1 combat, I think Joe Abercrombie is fan-fucking-tastic, but on like this massive epic scale,
Yeah.
I've
This-
never read
this
combat
is-
like this.
Yeah. This was up there for me with like the Words of Radiance and the Oathbringer anime battle scenes. Like this was up there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he split light in that battle. I think he split light in the Blackguard thing too. He drew in Super Violet just on a whim, like just sucked it up, and then used it in that fight. The one that he lost, the fight that he
Yeah.
lost.
And crack the
Uh,
green.
Yeah, yeah, but it was a little bit less obvious that he was light splitting in the Blackguard thing. He could have just found a Super Violet source somewhere, but in the ship battle, he split light. He was wearing his sub-red spectacles, and he used Super Violet and red, and made
Mhm.
fire crystals, and blew up damn near the whole ship.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see him do the uh like overcoming another drafter's wheel thing a lot too. Especially I think that's what's gonna come down between him and Zyman, like he does with the where he makes like breaks apart their drafting.
Makes
I
their
think
Luxon his Luxon.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be like a big thing between him and Zyman, almost like a battle of wills.
Yeah, I think Kip is definitely more willful than Simon. Simon's kind of a
Mhm.
little bitch,
And
honestly.
Yeah, I feel like Zyman's is more uh uh what's
He's
the
like spite and hatred and
well, I feel like it's like surface level will,
Mhm.
yeah,
like
yeah.
and Kip's is a lot deeper. Like I feel like he's got more strength to pull. Like on the surface, like Zyman's got a lot, but like it's
Mhm.
not deep. It's just, arrogance and
Right.
so
Narcissists are always like quote unquote willful, but they don't have deeper motivations. It's just their self interest.
Yeah.
yeah.
Whereas Kip has all these building blocks of his character.
Yeah.
He's well founded. I think.
We
What
want to
else?
talk about how the knife works.
Yeah, it's. I think we're all a little bit confused about the knife, right?
Yeah, I'm. There's. Yeah.
Obviously, the more it draws in, the bigger it grows.
Right.
Right.
Did not expect to see a sword or a gun on
A
it.
gun lance.
Yeah.
Did not expect that.
I think the
Digging it.
gun lance is kind of cool. I'm
Yeah,
down
I'm
with the
just
gun lance.
I just imagine Squall's
Do you think
sword
it's going to
from
shoot Luxon
Final
instead
Fantasy
of
VIII.
musket balls?
Makes sense.
I think it's going to shoot
I mean,
Luxon.
obviously, it's not going to shoot musket balls. I don't think. I mean,
It's just a paintball gun.
yeah, I can't imagine them like loading them up. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that would seem kind of ridiculous, right? Does it come with a matching white Luxon like tamper thing to pack in the powder, or
Yeah, I don't know. It's absorbed all of Gavin's power at this point.
Yeah.
yeah?
I mean,
And
Gavin's literally in gray
Adiat,
now.
the Green God, he absorbed the Green God with it too.
Right.
Yeah,
And
and
also
also change the
Andros.
lights.
Right.
Yeah,
Kick his
Andros is
red.
red. I have no idea about the knife. I do want to say that mirror. I think that mirror is going to be really important later, because it hit Gavin when it was turned to green, and Gavin felt it.
Yeah,
Well-
The mirror wanted to focus on Gavin, and then she tugged it away and focused it on Adiat. I think that if Gavin ever gets his powers back, it'll be because of that mirror.
Right. Well, I mean, book 3 is called The Broken Eye, which is probably the assassinations. Book 4 is called the Blood Mirror. So
I don't remember
And-
if they called it anything like that.
I don't know if it has a name yet, but it might have something like that. But then book 5 is called The Burning White. WHITE, not IGHT. So our favorite old lady.
It honestly kind of surprised me if she lasts that long though.
Yeah.
I don't know though, like the pacing of this book, like yeah, it's thick, but the amount of time that passed through here,
6
I mean, like,
months.
yeah, 6
There's
months.
not really any filler episodes.
There's not.
No, there's no. I love the pacing in these books.
It's so good. Like, so I'll be honest. So I'm reading Mistborn at the same time that I'm reading this, and I love Sanderson, but the pacing compared to
Yeah.
that, night and day difference.
That's always kind of been one of like my things with Sanderson. Don't get me wrong, I love Sanderson's books, but like
Lots
his
of filler.
pacing is
Lots of
his
filler.
pacing's not the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the thing I've been the most impressed with this book is that he keeps the pace up, and it's just boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
and none of it really feels like contrived or corny
Right.
to me. You know, it's not just like, oh, I'm doing this so something is happening. It's
Right.
like, no, this is a development. Like, this is not just random shit to just keep the action high. This is a development
Yeah.
of the plot, or a development of a character or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like the only thing I could really see as being considered maybe filler was some of like the Blackguard training stuff. But then you're seeing
But you see Kip
develop
grow.
these
Yeah.
relationships and also grow. Yeah.
And you see
So-
Andros conspiring against him and the development there.
Yeah.
And the way Andros is treating Kip is like largely a reflection of how Andros feels about Gavin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he's almost punishing Kip to punish Gavin.
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, he does. I mean, that's
Yeah.
basically what he tells Gavin. Like, hey, I'm punishing Kip because you won't do what I say. But
Yeah.
what do we think what was up with his apology to Kip? Do we think that was heartfelt, or do we think there was ulterior motives, or like he didn't really have a reason for an ulterior motive?
I think it might have been real.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely like Kip gained some respect as far as like the fact that he keeps like Andrew said, like he keeps winning.
Yeah. I think he respects that above all else, right? Like the drive to win. Because that's what he liked about his first son, even though his first son was a narcissistic megalomaniac who was violent and like just a vile human being.
Also-
he was like, well,
I also-
you win. I don't care.
Yeah. That's one thing I was gonna say too. Like I saw a lot of the twists coming. We called the white thing. We called the Zyman being Karis's son,
Right. But
which
even
was He admits right there. But I didn't. I didn't see the. I didn't see Dazen murdering Gavin
Oh
like
yeah, I
that.
did
Like
not see
I
that
didn't
at
see that.
all.
Oh,
I
as
did
soon as
not.
he said some fucked up shit about Karis, I knew he was dead. Like
Well,
when
like
Gavin was like playing, like he had his tail between his legs. I was like,
yeah,
no, he's baiting him. Like
yeah.
after he said that
Well,
shit about Karis, he is dead.
right. But I didn't see like it. Like I didn't think that was gonna be a part. Like I didn't see that coming to for like terms.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes because like I felt like he was gonna be needed later in the story.
Yeah, that's what I felt like too. But now like I realize that like we really see who Gavin is, the real Dazen is based on like his internal dialogue that he has about the prisoner, you know? And so like killing that, I don't know, it's I think it's also a symbolic character choice.
Well, that's something else I think that Brent Weeks does good is like the internal monologues that Dazen is having when he's making like morally hard choices.
Yeah.
Like like when we one of my favorites was when he was like struggling with his own religion and basically like being like I don't believe any of this but like I'm freeing these people for them and like that whole conversation he had at the freeing in his head. I thought that was really good. Um,
Yeah, he's decisive, right? Like
right.
even he's struggling with like the morality or the ethics of a situation. He's able to say, well, this is what needs to happen regardless of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why so many people have so much respect for him. Or a
Right.
big part of
Well,
why.
that's even like when he thinks Karis knows he's like I might have to kill her even though like we know that's not what he wants to do. Like it still is in his head like this is something I might have to do.
Well, I think that's when he set the limit in his head, right? Of like, I will do anything and everything before I reach this point to, accomplish my goals, to save the Chromaria, to save as many lives as possible. But that decision was him saying, Karis is more important to me than any of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When he chose not to kill her, despite the fact that she could bring it all tumbling down. That was him saying, I don't fucking care. Like, Karis is more
Yeah.
important than any of that to me. Which is why I knew as soon as Gavin told him that story about Karis that he was dead.
Yeah.
I was like, Gavin would rather watch the world burn than let anything happen to Karis.
So do you think somebody sent Anna?
I think so.
Anna?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think it's
Again
whoever
though,
sent the assassin to kill Kip in the alley,
I was gonna
and
say I
whoever
don't feel like it was
sent the
Andros.
peril assassin.
And the
Yeah, I don't
Shimmer
think it's
Cloak.
Andros and the Shimmer
I
Cloaks.
think yeah. So I think they're all part of the I definitely think the Shimmer Cloaks, and the assassins like they're all kinda like
Connected somehow that we're
connected
not aware
somehow.
of. Yeah, I think
And I
there's
feel like
another
with
big player that we haven't met yet.
right. And so I feel like the thing with Anna too, I feel like she definitely I don't feel like she was sent. I feel like somebody manipulative planted in her head like, hey, there's new guards because also saw like when that happened, there were two new guards and that's never supposed to happen. It's always supposed to be a new one with uh, uh, an older one, a more experienced guard. So that had to happen. And then also Maricia wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
What held Maricia up? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Um,
Well, I was gonna say,
so like it was perfectly aligned. I feel like so like somebody manipulative probably was like, "Hey, there's a chance that the Prism might want to hang out, whatever."
Well, also the two brothers, they like quote unquote lied for Gavin, but they seem genuinely to believe that Anna jumped.
Believe, yeah, yeah.
Um,
But they're
unless they're
also
just really
very
good liars, but they're
right.
they're
Well,
children. They're like teenagers.
they're also very reverent towards him. It seemed like.
yeah,
Sure. Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they blamed themselves for the whole situation, so they lied to cover for Gavin because they thought they were, responsible for it. But I don't know. I think maybe they're telling the truth, and Anna did jump, and she was sent as some kind of political weapon, right? Some kind of like dirt on Gavin.
I don't feel like she would have jumped though. Like I
I
don't
don't
feel like
know.
that
yeah.
was
She
her.
It
wouldn't have
just
jumped
feels weird to
herself.
me.
Character.
it just felt weird to me that they lied for him, but that they seemed to like genuinely believe it.
Yeah.
Because like the kid acts confused when Gavin says, "I'll try to be worthy of it." The kid's like, "What are you talking about?" Basically.
So, I mean, I don't know. This could be reaching, but like Gavin wasn't like looking sub red at that point. There could have been somebody in a shimmer cloak throw her off.
Oh, true. Yeah, yeah. One of the other Shimmer cloaks could have been there. Yeah, I think we're still kind of in the dark about the broken eye, obviously, and then the blinding knife. I think we still need. We just got to keep reading for those.
Yeah.
Trying to think of any big story beats that we missed. I mean, there's the battle, right?
Yeah.
The hexes, the orange hexes. I thought that was really cool. I
Yeah.
saw a new way to
The
use
way
orange.
they can use emotion. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
What's his name just
I
gets
feel like
absolutely
I feel like
crippled.
yeah,
Which
I feel like we're at this point we're kind of all over the place as far as our characters are. Like we've got characters together that we probably didn't expect having to work together, like Zyman and Kip.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this Gunner guy that he had a couple chapters throughout the book, and I always think it's weird when like uh we have this random character thrown in, and then like we don't really know what's going on, and that's like, but then like he shows up at the end, and it's like, what part's he gonna play? He seems almost a little crazy to me,
yeah,
just a
yeah, he
tad.
seems a little crazy.
Just,
He just
just
talks to the ocean. Ceres.
yeah,
He just talks to the ocean.
Yeah.
constantly too. Like
Hmm.
it's not like yeah. Reminds me of how the prisoner was talking to the guy on
The
the wall.
wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
The dead man.
Mhm.
Oh, I thought that segment, dude. My favorite segment in the first book is when Gavin, the prisoner, escapes the cell and falls into the green cell. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite moments. And then we had it again in this book, except Gavin left him a giant middle finger on the wall that just said "fuck you." Basically, it was like almost, and then
Yeah.
he just drops through the floor. Oh, the psychological torture that that man has gone through. I'm like, oh, he deserved every bit of it. And now he's dead. Thank God.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, everybody's kind of spread out across the world at this point now, and we don't know where they're gonna go. I think we're about to see a lot more of the world.
Hmm.
Um,
I thought the scenery with Atash and Rue was pretty good. At least the cities, like the descriptions of the cities were really cool.
yeah.
Also, we haven't talked about the color prints too much and what's going on with his army.
I mean, he really didn't. I mean, he did stuff, and like he's very intelligent as far as getting people
Right.
to. He's very charismatic as far as getting people to follow him.
Well, he's
He
making the right political plays too,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
Well, like this
right.
this entire
Well,
book, he was kind of just like just sitting on his throne and just being like, do this, do this, do that. Not really a
yeah, I was
lot
gonna
of
say
like.
I don't feel like he did much except for like do his like power play stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
wondering
Well, we know
how
that
the
he's going to be choosing the gods, right?
attempt to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to he's going to attempt to. But
And live.
It's going to be the super violet god.
in theory,
Yeah, I wonder what this item is that he gave her. The super violet crystal or whatever. I think it was like, was it a necklace or like a headband or something?
I don't know.
But she says it's like pulsing with super violet.
Could it be one
And
of the things that's on the dagger?
oh, yeah, the same kind of stone.
Like that same stone?
Maybe,
It's like a
hmm,
reserve of its power or something. I don't know.
my biggest
maybe
question
it's
with the
White
color
Luxon.
prints,
Maybe it's White
Possible.
Luxon and it acts like a battery or
yeah,
like a generator.
my biggest question with the color prints is like who set him on this path? I don't
Mm-hmm.
feel like he
Yeah.
just woke up. I don't feel like he just woke up like after having that wall fall on him was like I'm gonna do this. I feel like, and it did. I know it said something about how him and Andros have been in contact, but I don't know if Andros is the one that started him down that path either.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
could see Andros manufacturing an opposition to give himself more power. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
that's what the real Gavin explained to Dazen that they did in the first place, and that like they made this war happen with Dazen so that they would get pre-Marcus status.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason it happened on his side. Dazen was trying to quit
Trying
and
to
fight for
surrender
Carol.
the entire
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we got so much. I mean, not that we didn't like Dazen before, right? I think we all liked Dazen before, but he got redeemed even further in this book with all the explanations of the past and what happened, why they went to war, how it all unfolded. Dazen was completely fucking innocent of
Yeah.
any wrongdoing, and Gavin and Andros just tried to destroy him, and Dazen was just better than both of them.
Yeah.
I love that. He's like a Gojo Satoru character. You know what I mean? Like, you just have to simp over him. Just
Yeah.
like, oh, he's the superhero. Yeah. Trying to think of what else we haven't hit. I think we got Kip, we got Gavin, we got
We got all
Liv
of
and
our
the Color
twists.
Prince.
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
Do you guys
You wanna
have
get
any
into your
theories?
ratings?
Well, let's. Do you have any theories for like future books other than like what's this mirrored, the broken eye, anything we haven't talked about?
I was gonna say, do we think that Zyman is actually Karis's kid? But like, I feel like he almost has to be, just because
Didn't he
like,
say he
how else would he
was?
know about that? Right, he did say that, but I mean, he could have
Yeah.
just been told that by the color. Like,
Yeah.
how does he know that he's Karis's kid? Unless like
I think it makes
she
sense.
did give him to family members, right?
Yeah, she
Mhm.
gave him to family
So-
members.
So
Cousins,
I guess they could have
think.
told her. Yeah,
Yeah.
they could have told him.
I'm wondering, so like the drafters can draft any color. They can just only make a stable version of the colors that are like their colors.
Mhm.
But they can technically draft any of them. Koyos, I don't think, was a full spectrum polychrome before he got smashed by the burning wall.
Mhm.
Right.
So do we think that there's a way for people to like obtain new colors, especially once they break the halo?
Well, I mean, in theory, that's what Andros did to Gavin, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, well, somehow they use the blinding. The blinding knife has to be involved somehow, right? Because Gavin had it, and then Kip's mother got it from Gavin. Andros had it, and he mentions it repeatedly when he's talking about I made you, I made you.
Yeah.
Which, the fact that it's on board the ship with Gunner and Gavin makes me think that somehow Gavin's going to get his powers back on the pirate ship,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that the blinding knife's going to have
Gavin
something to
saw-
do with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Gavin saw the knife and he seemed to kind of recognize it, but not as far as like knowing how to use it, but just knowing that like Andros has mentioned it to him before. He talked to Gavin about it. Like, I think he realized what it was, especially after Andros like basically was like he almost like exclaimed like he had won at that point when he saw the knife. Like, he's like, now I've got the knife, I win. So
Yeah, it seems like some way somehow that thing can make prisms.
Mhm.
I'm thinking maybe if you take the colors from enough people, like if you get all 7 colors, then you can make a prism, make a light splitter.
Yeah.
But like,
maybe.
my thing is, what are the odds that Gavin, who's not even a super chromat, would be the prism, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
you would
but,
think
like-
super chromacy would be like default
Valued.
for
Yeah.
the prism, necessary almost, I would think.
Yeah.
Well, and so like also we never actually saw the prisoner split light. So maybe it doesn't even give you
Oh, light split! You can't even split light. I didn't think about
we
that.
never actually saw him do it.
Mhm.
And he's not a super chromat.
Yeah, so maybe he's just a 7. Well, no, he had to have had the prismatic eyes, right? For him to be named
Right.
Prism, he would have had to have the prismatic eyes.
Mhm.
Right, but I mean in theory, like if you just sit there and draft of every color, wouldn't you get prismatic eyes at some point
No, I think you just
if you
have
draft enough?
rings. I think you just have 7 rings
Yeah.
in your iris. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't think Gavin can split light in that he can like take blue light and turn it into orange,
Yeah.
Well,
right?
I
I don't.
wasn't
It's
saying
not like.
that. Right, I wasn't saying the prisoner didn't do it. I'm just saying like he never had the opportunity. We never saw him do it, so we
Yeah.
don't know if he can. Like it never said
Well, clearly he was a
outright.
worse drafter than Dazen because Dazen beat him 1-on-1, pretty handedly enough that he was able to just put on his clothes and walk out of there.
I mean, it said he was definitely fucked up, but
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, he could still walk and he could still, he wasn't
Yeah.
down for the count.
Yeah. Also, it's hard to believe that anybody could be as. I mean, I hope Kip gets to that point, but it's hard to believe that anybody could draft like Dazen drafts. Where
Yeah.
like the Hullbreaker scene, where it took him all of like 4 seconds to improve the design by like 100-fold, was really
Yeah.
cool to me. As far as theories go, I don't have anything too crazy. I think there's just
Yeah.
going to be a training arc with the Broken Eye. I
Mhm.
think the Broken Eye are going to be like moral gray area, kind of like the Faceless in Game of Thrones, or like the Edemre in Name of the Wind. Trying to think of anything else. I think Kip is the chosen one, right?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to be the next Prism, the
Yeah.
Lightbringer, all that.
So you don't think the Broken Eye's political? You think they're like some Dark Brotherhood type?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They pull
Yeah,
the
that's
strings
what
of
I'm
the
thinking right
politics
now.
by choosing who lives and who dies.
I'm curious if they had anything to do with Lucidonius and like maybe they're like a failsafe measure,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if the Chrome area gets too corrupt, like slide in,
Okay. So like it's almost like a secret like order
Templars,
that
kind of.
yeah, it's supposed to keep the peace.
Yeah, at all
In that
costs.
case, though, don't you think they'd go after Andros?
Unless
Unless
they
Andros is.
maybe they think that they just need to blow it up and get new blood in there, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just the vibe I get right now from them. Is their
My only deal is like it seems like they are. Well, no, because they killed the card lady. See, I was gonna say it seems like they're almost like helping Andros. They killed the green, which was one of Gavin's supporters. They went after the white, which we all know that Andros wants her power. Tried to kill Kip, which we know that. Well, he didn't want him there dead there at the end, but he
He
had
did at the
wanted him
time,
dead.
yeah.
So yeah. So like I feel like a lot of the stuff they've done so far has been helping Andros.
Yeah.
It's true.
The only one that doesn't really fall out is the card keeper. But like if she's teaching Kip and like showing
Well,
him that Andros is a white through the card, then
yeah, Andros wanted his card really bad. He
Yeah.
said that she had made a card of him and he like desperately wanted it
Mm-hmm.
because he was afraid of, what it
Yeah.
would reveal about him.
Right.
What about you, MD? You got any harebrained theories about where we're going?
No, I know Simon and Kip right now are together. I don't know. I low-key feel like Kip and Simon might have like this feud for like Gavin's approval or something. Like if Simon somehow like I don't know turns in a way, then there's like this weird approval where like because now Karis and Gavin or Dazen I guess are married and Kip's technically not either of theirs. It's like there's this weird bloodline thing going on. I feel like that is just going to be an interesting plot point coming up soon.
Well,
and then-
Andros was going to adopt him.
Yeah, Andros. That's what I was gonna bring up. So we know that Andros is, which makes sense that Andros has known about him this whole time because he's got some like he would know that Karis was pregnant and went to go like he would have kept
Yeah.
up with her. So it's like we really don't know everything that Andros knows and all
Mhm.
his cards
Yeah.
he's got to play. which makes his like him being the villain like even more scary because it's like we don't know if he's got the third broken eye working for him. We don't know if he's the one playing the strings with the color prints. Like he could be behind literally everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think manufactured opposition is. I mean, we know it's in his playbook because he did it to his own fucking son.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's definitely possible. I just don't know what his end goal would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, that's what I was gonna say too. I don't know. I don't know what his purpose is. The White thinks he's just doing it for lust of power, but I feel like it's got to be deeper than that.
I don't think it
Especially
was
with
though, because he said he lost himself to the Red there towards the end. You know,
right.
he said he had to
Well,
lean into his discipline to not lose himself to the Red, and there at the end, he was pretty sure
right.
he was losing.
The only thing I will say is like we do see that he did love his wife. Like that
Yeah,
might be the only person that he actually like wasn't, and I'm sure
Yeah.
he still used her as a tool, but like um felt something
genuine.
for, genuine
Yeah,
affection
Yeah.
for, um, because he was like actually like really hurt by her death. Said it was like a betrayal because like he lived for her and then she couldn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's got I don't know so much shit going on that there's
Yeah.
no telling.
yeah.
Well, let's jump into our ratings.
Captain. Um, I can take it first.
Yeah. You take plot.
For plot, I'm giving this. God, I don't want to give anything a 10 out of 10 necessarily. I'm gonna say 9 out of 10. The
Yeah.
pacing was amazing. There were a couple small conveniences, and the fact that there are so many red herrings, or not even necessarily red herrings, just clues that I have to go on to the next book to find out about. Uh, I don't know. It was perfect. 10 out of 10. I don't care.
Yeah.
It was fun the whole way through. Crazy pacing. Loved it.
Yeah, I'll probably also give the plot. I don't know if I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I'll give it like a 9.5 out of 10. It was really good. I love the twists and stuff. They were predictable, but not in the sense of it's like, oh,
Contrived.
this isn't a good read
Yeah.
because it's so predictable. They were predictable in the sense of it's like, oh, I'm having fun theorizing. What if this is the case? And then it's like, boom, it happens. It's like, what? You know what I'm saying? I really enjoy it. So I say 9.5.
I There's just something about it that makes me not want to give it a 10 either. I feel like it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Love the pacing. Um, but it didn't like make me like I enjoyed the read, but like I wasn't like glued.
Right.
So I feel like I'm probably gonna give it like a 8.59. Um,
Still all really high.
yes, like I said, it's really good. Um, I wasn't glued, which I know Whitson was, and so I
Yeah.
can
Oh
see
yeah,
why he was.
I've been loving these books.
I'm loving them too. I don't feel like I can give it a 10 or even a 9.5. So
Yeah.
I'd probably say 8.59, somewhere in there.
Yeah. I think the reason I'm not fully giving it a 10 is because there's still so many things that are unanswered that I wanted to be answered. And so, like, granted, I know it's a series
Yeah.
and there's more stuff, but.
Right. That was going to be my complaint and why I was going to give it a 9 out of 10. But then I was like, well, but I'm like desperate to read the next book. Like, is that really a bad thing? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's fair. What about setting?
For me, setting is probably the lowest score out of the
Mhm.
three. I'd say like
Didn't
a
really change.
6.5, 7. Nothing wrong with it. Pretty interesting when he describes the cities themselves, or like
Yeah.
Brightwater Wall in book 1, or like this pyramid with the mirror on top and like the city
Right.
around it.
Yeah.
So like smaller settings and cities he describes really well, but then like the broader landscape doesn't get very much attention or love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 6.5, 7, somewhere around there.
Yeah, for me also, like, not much changed from the last book, but like the world building and stuff is still awesome and stuff. And so, I don't know. I'll probably also give it like a 7, just because like it's good. I just wish we saw more of it. The detail, the way everything's described is awesome. It's very vivid. Um, yeah, 7.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So we need a separate category almost for for sci-fi fantasy, right? We have magic systems or tech systems in every world.
Right.
And if we're not including I think the religion and the magic in these books are so cool. And
Yeah.
if that's included in setting, then I'd say it's like an 8.5. But if we're just talking about the world, the
Yeah.
setting, then it's like a 6.5 or 7 for me.
Well, and I feel like you're right as far as like almost needing a separate category there because I feel like the magic system goes into plot, it goes into characters, it goes into um setting. Like I feel like it's kind of like overall like can affect all three of those categories. Um, but like just speaking from a setting standpoint, um, I think y'all hit it pretty like 7, 6.5. Like it's good. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not outstanding. Like there's nothing that's like drawing me towards it. It's kind of there. Um, I think it'd be really cool in the next book to like lean into the pirate thing. I like
Mhm.
sea battle settings and stuff like that. Maybe lean towards maybe Kip and Zyman get picked up by a different crew of pirates or something, and I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
I'm waiting for Kip to make his escape and just draft a skimmer and just get going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
You
see
know what I
that
mean?
too.
Character.
I think I'm gonna give it like an 8. I think some of the characters are exceptional. Like I
Yeah.
think Gavin is a 10 out of 10 character. I think Kip and Iron Fist are 10 out of 10 characters. Um, even Karis, like
Mhm.
10 out of 10 character. But a couple of the characters are a little shallow. Uh, I think I think all the women being lovesick is kind of tired. I wish he didn't lean on that so often, you know?
Yeah.
It,
Like
to be fair though, in this world, at least just like what information we have, like in this world, it seems like love's a big part of it
Mhm.
because
sure,
it seems like
and their political marriages and marriages
yeah,
of necessity and things like that. And like, in this world, women still need men to be like their benefactor, or their.
right, right.
It,
I
it's
mean,
it's
it's
very
more
like
like
religious fundamentalist kind of
yeah,
kind of
Yeah.
it's
world.
more of like a, it's not an old timey setting because it's not set in like our world, but like if it was in our world, it would be like a yeah, like
Yeah.
you're saying where like you need that for to be something. Um,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
the man that you're married to is as important as anything else about yourself as a woman in this world. And like,
yeah,
time period wise and like with the religious system that's around them, it makes some sense. But still a little tired to
Yeah.
me. So I'd say an 8 for
Yeah.
character.
I'm kind of like on the same page with you. The characters that like with an 8, like the characters that like you really love. And like the characters
Mhm.
that you really hate, like Andros Guile, and like there's clear development and like people all throughout the book. But there are some characters who are big players like Liv, who I feel like are just kind of shallow. It's like her entire character is like you said, drinking the Kool-Aid, and it's like,
I don't know. With her. I just don't feel like her character makes sense a whole
yeah,
lot. But
yeah, it's very like it makes sense
Yeah.
past the decision, but it's like I don't understand the decision. And so I don't know. It just feels there are some that are a little rocky, and I don't know. Maybe that stuff gets straightened out. Like you can't grow everyone in the same book, I guess. So
yeah,
Yeah, it's true. I
like
mean, there's just a
yeah,
temporal reality, right? You can only
yeah,
devote so many
right,
pages to so many
yeah,
characters.
right. Um, yeah. With Liv, I just feel like, and maybe it's because I'm not like letting her character grow. Like I'm focused on how she was portrayed portrayed in the beginning. But she was portrayed as like this really intelligent girl that was like Corbin Danovis's daughter, and like she was like living up to that name. And then like I feel like everything she's done since the decision she made to let Kip go um,
mm-hmm.
after Karis. and went with him. Like everything after that, it's like it feels like she's almost, and I feel like part of that's
My
her
dogs are
becoming
going crazy.
her
Sorry.
becoming her own character, which makes sense. But like I just felt like it goes completely against what she was portrayed to be. Um, so
What
I
the
don't know.
hell is going on up there?
But like you were saying, like I do like Gavin. I love Gavin. I love his internal monologues. Where like we see he's not this perfect person. Um, and he's like super intelligent. He's like giving Kip all this advice. I really like Kip. I think I think his everything with his character makes sense. I'm ready for him to get some confidence from somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's slowly getting it. Um, I just think like, look at what all you've done. Like you just like you're not as bad as you think you are. But he's been put down his whole life, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think honestly one of my favorite characters is Andros. Just like as a
Yeah.
villain, like I love the way he's always playing 3D chess.
Yeah.
Like always. He almost reminds me of like the visual I get is Lelouch's dad.
He
Uh
reminds me of another character, but I can't spoil it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are gonna read that soon.
um but yeah. Oh, I need a rate, I guess. I'm probably like 7.5, 8, seven
Yeah.
and a half, 8, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle.
We're all
I will
pretty
say
much on the
I do
same.
like. I kind of like Liv. Not the character. Like I don't like the character Liv, but the way that Brent Weeks handled Liv, because I feel like the Color Prince played on her little biases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But I
feel
feel
like
like
it
that
was
goes with the Color Princess
convenient.
character.
Sure, yeah. I feel like it was convenient that the driving point of like all of it for Liv was that she didn't know that Dazen was Gavin. I
Yeah.
still don't love that that's the driving force for some of these conflicts. I feel like that's like kind of shallow and infuriating because it's like, well, you could
Yeah.
just tell them at this point, right?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's fucked. You're gonna be dead in a year anyways. Like so many of these political alliances and all these problems would be solved if you were just open about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, I don't know. That's a small gripe. There's so much else going on in the plot that it's like that's kind of a background note at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, her little biases growing into these big biases, and her being like having her blinders on.
Yeah.
She's not my favorite character, but I do kind of like the way that he has handled her character.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I mean, I get she's becoming her own person. I just feel like it goes against like, I don't know. And I guess that's part of her becoming her own person. But like even like her loyalty to one and she picks herself, it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's just not my favorite character, but that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into our TBRs real quick before we end the episode.
I'm probably. I don't know what our recording schedule looks like. I'm probably going to read 3, 4, and 5, honestly, and just reread them when we do them for Patreon or something. I love these books.
Yeah.
Like I think if he sticks the landing, these will cruise into my like top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't made much progress
you're
on
not-
any of the other books I'm reading.
Yeah.
Same stuff as last recording.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask if you got Pariah yet, and if you'd started it.
Not yet. Not yet. I want to just buy the box set. But I bought Mortal Kombat 1 instead.
Yeah, my as of when we're recording this, which is at the very end of September, Secret Project 4 is about to come into the mailbox for me, and so that is big on my TBR list. I want to finish Mistborn before it gets here, and I'm halfway through, so hopefully I will finish it out. But other than
Are
that,
you on Well of Ascension?
no, I'm still on just book 1.
Just book 1.
Oh, just book 1? I thought you said you were on book 2 the other day.
No, I'm on no, what did I say, book 2? I might
I
have
think
been
you
talking
might have
about
said
Wheel of
part
Time.
2 or something.
Part 2. I did say part 2, yeah.
Oh.
Which I'm about to. I think I'm on part 3 now, actually. So it's getting really
I've been
good.
wanting to give it another try. I just haven't.
The first and second books are really good. I didn't love the third book, but I've heard Era 2 is good enough to just power through it anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What about you, Dylan? What are you reading?
I finished that lit RPG series, or well, it's not finished, but there's only 4 books out right now. That lit RPG series I was talking about, where it's basically a video game, and like
Yeah.
it was fun. It was really fun. Kind of got repetitive. But it was a good like palate cleanser read, which is kind of what I was wanting. I feel like I've been like nonstop reading like really good art like books here lately, and I wanted something like not that it wasn't good, but just like
Pulp
something
Fiction.
like
You wanted some Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction.
Yeah.
well, I just wanted something that'd be like a really easy read that I could kind of like tune out at
Yeah.
work and then kind of tune back in and not really miss anything.
Yeah.
So it was good for that. And then I read Promise of Blood, which is the first book in the Gunpowder Mage trilogy, which I really enjoyed the magic system in it. It's really cool. I don't know if y'all looked at it any, but so basically like gunpowder is like so like you've got normal sorcerers who can reach into I think it's called that I forgot what they call it, like an aether or something, but it's basically they can reach in and they can manipulate it and do sorcery. They can lightning, fire, um, ice. They can just do all sorts of fucking magic. Um, and then you've got these things called mage breakers who were able to do all that. They were those sorcerers, but they gave it all up to be able to nullify all magic around them.
Oh, cool.
So they gave up their powers. And then you've got uh, these things called knacks who have like they have a knack for something. So like it's part of the power, but it's like they can like one of them like can like doesn't need lock, or it's like really easy for him to lock pick, or he can like open doors without lock picking them, or
Mhm.
like they just have little knacks. Like one of them doesn't need to sleep very often. Um, and then you've got the gunpowder mages, which they use gunpowder as like it's almost like a stimulant, like the vampire blood was for Gabriel. Like so, like they snort it and they get to go in like a trance, and they get like heightened senses, heightened stamina, heightened power, and then also they can like use gunpowder, like they can control gunpowder outside their body. So like if they have a bullet and some powder and they throw the powder on the bullet, they can just make it go off. They don't need a gun. Or they can like change the direction of bullets and stuff in midair, and yeah, it's really cool. But basically, it starts you like right in the middle of a coup, um, of them like killing, and this isn't spoiling anything. This is like the first chapter. They kill the king, and it starts a coup, and it's basically showing how like it's the general is like he's kind of hard, like he's running all these problems. It's like kind of harder to run a country than I thought. And then like you've got this like other group trying to raise this old god and all sorts of stuff. So like
That's
it's
cool.
it's good. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But long-winded explanation, but whatever.
Nah, that's cool. Well, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you share, like, subscribe, or follow on your preferred platform. As always, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And now we're also on Patreon. Well, we will be tomorrow. And so if you want to get our bonus content, you can go check out the Patreon. And all that. Join our Discord. Let us know some fantasy questions. Follow our TikTok at the Tome Travelers Pod. And yeah, let us know what you guys thought about this book in the comments too. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and end the episode here, and we will see you all in the next one.
Peace.
With Red Rising.